In this video today, we are going to be giving this Axial SCX6 huge RC crawler a much needed big power boost when it comes to servos by installing the 60 kg unit from ZOSKAY. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy. This is Roadside RC. On the channel, you'll find me bashing and crawling and drifting and racing, plus doing product review videos and how-tos. And exactly that's what we have here today. This is my friend's Axial SCX6. Very known issue with this truck is that the steering servo out of the box is really weak. We have this 60 kg unit from ZOSKAY, a very budget-oriented upgrade for you. Comes with the Servo Horn. We will go through what it's going to take to get this servo in this truck in this video. So of course, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to test the stock servo so that we understand how powerful it is compared to the one that we put in. Truck's powered on, no body, sitting on the workbench. That is what we have. A little bit of weight on it. Oh my gosh, and you can feel it slow down a lot. If I grab that tire and wheel, again, really struggling to turn this truck. Let's get this thing swapped out, see how it does afterwards. The first steps you're going to need to do 1, 2, 3 screws, and then this whole ESC plus receiver cover comes off as one unit. Gives you really good access there to the ESC plus the receiver, which makes your life very easy for getting this servo out. Next steps are going to be to remove this linkage right here. It's then just the 4 screws that hold the servo down to the chassis. Unplug the servo from the receiver and you can fish the whole thing then out. And you have the servo officially removed at that point. Now, one issue you run into as you put in an aftermarket servo is that the factory servo horn is a 15 tooth. A lot of the aftermarket servos are not. Like this ZOSKAY is actually an 18 tooth. Fortunately, it comes with a servo horn, so that is fine, and it's a good dimension compared to the stock one. But it institutes its own issues. So the factory bolt that goes through the steering linkage is a larger diameter. So if you use a screw out of your parts bin like I am, that will screw into the servo horn nicely, as it goes through this, it has some wobble and it's a little bit loose. Now technically you could get away with that. You could just put it through there, put a washer under this cap head here so that it doesn't, so that it helps distribute that force there, and you're fine. What I'm actually going to do is these little brass inserts come with the servo. These are very common to come, and they're meant to go in something like this position, but the truth is I never use them, and so I have a stack of these laying around, and it just so happens that that fits this bolt rather tightly. And as you put it, of course it'll go in through the bottom, but I'm just going to show you on the top here. As it goes in through the top, it takes up that slack, so you have very little movement in that screw head once it's in here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the servo in, servo horn on, and as I screw this in through here into the servo horn, it is going to simply be like that with that bushing in the middle there in order to take up any excess slack. But before we get to that step, we need this servo to actually physically fit in here. And what you'll see is that there's this adapter in here that adapts to, but it's basically a 5th scale dimension down to that Spectrum servo that came in it. So we're going to take this off to start with. Now in your kit, they actually provide a new little bracket that goes down right here that adapts from this standard size servo to the 5th scale servo. You just bolt that directly back in place and then put the servo right on top of it. With everything plugged back up, we're going to go ahead and turn the whole system on. It is, of course, the linkage is not hooked up yet, but we want to make sure that we can hear the servo turning, and we actually want to make sure that our steering trim is centered. And we're going to leave everything powered on while we flip it over and put the servo horn on and the steering linkage on. Now with everything installed back on, powered up, steering is trimmed, check this out. They're not the fastest servos in the world, but plenty of power. Even if I hold down on them, it is still completely moving those wheels, no issue. I grab it, it's like moving the whole truck now. Like, it's hard for me to keep it from moving. So it's definitely super, that ZOSKAY, definitely an upgrade for these trucks. Very happy to get it in, fits well. Now I'd love to be able to take it outside and give it a full test run, but it is raining like crazy out here, so that'll have to wait for the next one. Now I am going to get working on some other stuff for this truck. I have a whole host of upgrades that I'm doing to it, so I'm going to get to work on that. I'm going to ask you to come over here, check out some other videos. If you want to see these other upgrades and everything that I'm doing, it is going to be in the SCX6 playlist that'll be over here to your right. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.